BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward. Smiling doesn't mean that life is perfect. It means that you're still connected. Your head, your heart, your breath, your body, by the grace of God, it's that connection that's going to sustain you long-term in your growth. What are you built to be? What are you built to become? The time is now. The time is right now. You weren't built to break. You were built to be something greater. Welcome to Season 2 of the BTB Project. I'm your host, Coleman Gearhart. I was the overweight kid, the one counted out, lost 100 pounds, found purpose in the pain, and turned my setbacks into a story worth telling. This podcast isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about identity, discipline, and comebacks. Getting up one more time and becoming who we're always meant to be. If you're ready to go deep, do the work, and live out what you're built to be, you're in the right place. Let's lock in, let's rise, and let's get to work. Welcome back to the BTB Project. I'm your host, Coleman Gearhart, and we are in step 8 of a 12-step series that I call the BTB Blueprint, equipping you with 12 different strategies to help you maximize your life, help you become the strongest version of yourself, and to help equip you to know where to start on going after these goals, dreams, and ambitions, because it can be daunting at times. And this one is going to resonate with you as the listener, because a lot of times in this process of making a change, doing something audacious, doing something that stretches you, you oftentimes have to make sure that you're taking the time to remember where you came from and who you are. So step 8 of the BTB Blueprint is smile. Learning to smile while staying human when you're becoming who you're built to be. Throughout this process, you've studied your story. You've decided who you're becoming. You've prepared. You've made that first step towards what you're going after. You've put in the work. You've learned how to save and protect what matters, your progress. The steps forward have a placeholder in your life now. You're able to look back and slow down enough to listen, to be intentional, to be present in your life so you're not too far ahead and not too far behind. And now we arrive at a step that sounds simple. Being able to smile is something that we do. And heck, when I was growing up, I remember going to the shopping mall with my mom and my brother and my dad. And this was around the holidays, and you walk into a J.C. Penney's, you go in and take the cringy family photos with the turtlenecks, and everyone stands behind an awesome backdrop that has stars and lights and all sorts of crazy things that the early 90s brought to our nostalgia. What did that cameraman say before we took that photo? Smile. Look at all the times that we smile now with the phones that we have in our pocket, being able to pull that out and take a picture at any given moment. But smiling is something that is profound. And as we dissect that today, I want you to really think about your own life and how you can apply this. Because let's face it, when we're going through our built to be journey, or we're going through life in general, life is not easy. It's sometimes very challenging, but those moments of joy, those moments of reaching a little bit of a peak, you got to be able to take a step back and recognize what you've been able to accomplish. When we're thinking about smiling, we're not smiling because everything always worked out, but because you're still here. You're able to wake up this morning, take a deep breath in, open your eyes, begin on that morning ritual. You're able to have another day by the grace of God. And because you're still here, you're still becoming who you're built to be, who you're built to become. So let's dive into why a smile belongs in the BTB Blueprint. I want to be very clear right away. This step is not about fake positivity. This is not like the Instagram or the YouTube videos where people are putting on a fake smile, or they, heck, sometimes have to generate a AI smile because they don't have it in them to be quote unquote authentic or happy. I've seen that a lot in people. Breaks my heart. But this isn't about ignoring the pain that you've been through. It's not about being fake. It's not about pretending things are okay when they're not. Smiling is about perspective. It's about remembering why you started your built to be journey. It's that placeholder in your heart that gives you an outward expression of being proud of who you are. It's about staying human in the middle of the discipline. The discipline will callous you. It will put you in situations where you sometimes feel like it's hard to celebrate or to have the happy emotions. But it's also about not becoming so consumed by your growth that you forget to live. Because here's what happens to a lot of driven people. And this has certainly happened to me as well. We build discipline, but we also lose joy. We build success and can talk about what that success is and live in what that success is, but we lose presence. We build resilience. We talk about all the things that we've overcome, but we forget our gratitude and to be grateful for what we have. Step 8 exists to protect you from becoming so hardened by the very process that's supposed to free you. This is a reality check of life is so precious. Every single day is an amazing opportunity for you. So why not enjoy it? Why not enjoy this process, this blueprint that you're creating for your life? So here's some of the dangers of taking life too seriously. There's a version of growth that makes people incredibly rigid. Everything becomes optimization. Everything becomes pressure. Everything becomes this next level. Always have to be better. Always have to have the best thing. And before you know it, you're winning on paper, but you've disconnected internally. You're beginning to not even recognize who you are because you're so focused on task at hand. I remember very vividly when I was going after my goals growing up, and even today, that I've had seasons where I was doing all of the right things, and I've think back and I was like, man, I wasn't enjoying any of it. Especially when I think back on my tennis career, there were moments that I felt like kind of lost my heart and who I was. I became someone I wasn't. A great episode for you guys to check out is the death of the big teddy bear. I did that episode a while back because I had to talk through the importance of killing off these egos that we can develop when we're on our journeys that prevent us from going to the next level, from allowing the people that we love the most or the friends that we have in our lives to enjoy what we're doing in our process. And that's when I realized something important. When I killed off that egotistical self that I became, that if your growth cost you your humanity, it's too expensive. It's not worth it. Smile and having the ability to give yourself some credit is the reminder that becoming better doesn't require becoming colder, becoming this stiff neck, full of yourself, impossible to be around person. Smiling is a way to connect, no different than that J.C. Penney photo. The smile connects us to the camera. The camera exposes us to an image that we get to keep for the rest of our lives and that other people get to see. That smile is a legacy. So what a smile actually means, what does it mean? A smile means appreciating progress instead of obsessing over how far you've come. It's laughing at yourself instead of consistently judging yourself. This isn't a gymnastics competition where you're trying to land the quadruple vault that you just did and not move a square inch afterwards to stick the landing. You're a human being. You're imperfect. You're going to make mistakes along the way. But staying grateful even when you're still grinding. Letting these moments that matter. Not just milestones. It's choosing presence over pressure. It's being able to say something like this: I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm proud of how far I've come. That statement right there puts a placeholder on your journey that allows you to lean on that as things continue to get challenging down the road. That's the mindset that keeps you grounded. And grounded is where people last longer. How often do you feel like you're burned out? You're chasing, you're going. Sometimes you think like, man, I got nothing left. So let's tie this idea of giving ourselves some credit, smiling, into some personal reflection. Why does this step matter so much? There were moments in my journey where everything felt heavy. The training, the expectations that I had on myself to lose over 100 pounds. My life, it was a mess with an alcoholic mom and drugs and alcohol throughout my extended family. My dad and brother moving out of the house, taking on life, living with an addict. That was really challenging the first 20 years of my life. And then ultimately the loss of my mom. Having to kiss her on the forehead when she was in a vegetative state and telling her goodbye. There's no kid at 20 that needs to lose their mom. And for those of you who have suffered loss at a young age, I'm so sorry. That is one of the most challenging parts that I had to overcome. also think about the responsibility, my beautiful wife, my amazing children, being there for them, being a leader of the household. It weighs on you as a husband and a father. And if I'm going to be honest, when I think back almost 42 years of life now, I look back and I forgot to smile sometimes. You know, we take a lot of photos as a family, and I look at some of those photos and I'm like, man, was I present in that moment? I forgot to enjoy the movement, the synchronicities, the beauty of life. I forgot to sometimes enjoy the process. I forgot to enjoy the people around me. When you're chasing, and always trying to be better, you can't go from 0 to 100%. It's small incremental steps so that you can stay present. But the moments that recentered me the most in life, they weren't breakthroughs. They were these small reminders, and they were all around smiling and joy. I remember the laughs and the times with my former teammates. A moment of gratitude when I was able to win a big tennis tournament or to help coach someone to a state championship. A realization that I was doing something that I prayed about often. I still go back to that old journal that I have of 13, 14 years old, of what I wanted to accomplish, and being able to check that box years later, it was beautiful. Smiling isn't denial. It's awareness. It's something that people can relate to. People want to experience joy. People want to feel good about their life, who they're becoming. And that physical representation, without even saying anything, helps you remember what matters the most. So how does smiling help with your career, with what you're doing as an athlete, in leadership? Smiling matters professionally more than people realize. In business, people can trust leaders who are grounded. Clients can feel safe around people who are present. I see this in sales all the time. I see this from some of the best leaders that I've ever worked for. Their presence, their demeanor, their expression. If they have that smile on their face, that's infectious. That's how you change the world. I've seen it in sales. Curiosity beats pressure. When I walk into a boardroom with decision makers that are looking to spend a lot of money on the product or service that I'm presenting, how I'm presenting myself is what gives them the trust, hope, and encouragement in what I'm doing. It's that physical expression that gets them to buy in to that transaction. And being authentic, it beats scripts any given day of the week. Picking up the phone and doing a cold call. People aren't going to buy from me if I'm just a robot reading from a piece of paper. They're going to buy from the guy that is smiling on his LinkedIn profile, that is present, that recognizes where he's been, where he's going. Energy beats tactics. Are you lighting up the room? Are you someone that is memorable? Be memorable. As you're on your BTB blueprint and going after your goals, dreams, and ambitions, be memorable. Let people recognize you along the way by not what you say, by smiling and recognizing that you're present. When you smile, not literally, but energetically, people are going to feel it. People feed off of that energy. They feel at ease. They feel confidence. They feel alignment to you. That's influence. So what's an actionable step to initiate a smile? Sounds kind of silly when you think about it. Do you think I'm just going to go out and tell you to smile for 5 seconds? Let's make it a little bit more applicable than that. Here's a simple practice for this week. Once a day, I want you to pause and ask yourself, we're going to put this in our journal too. Get out that BTB Blueprint journal, find a clean sheet, gonna write down these three things. What went right today? Not perfectly, not exactly the way that you wanted to, but what was just right? The second thing is, where did you show up for yourself? Even if it was a small win, maybe it was applying for that job that you've been hesitant to push the submit button. Maybe it's trying out for that team, getting ready for that marathon that you've always wanted to run, signing up, paying the entry fee for the race. Where'd you show up for yourself? And the third thing is, what moment did you rush past that you could have appreciated a little bit better? Think of a feat that you've had most recently, and maybe you had chances to celebrate either internally or with friends or family. What moment did you rush that you could have appreciated? This trains presence. Write one sentence for each one of these, and that's it. This isn't about productivity. It's about perspective. This oftentimes can be called gratitude journaling. I need to do much better at this, but it's something that you can do once a day. These three questions: what went right today? Where did I show up for myself? And what moment did I rush past that I could have appreciated? Answer those questions 5 minutes a day and watch how it changes your life. So what's the weekly challenge? You got a framework for what you can do each day. Acknowledge your progress without adding pressure. Have these placeholders in your journal to where you can look back and you can smile and realize where you've been and who you're becoming. Celebrate your consistency, celebrate your effort, celebrate showing up when no one thought you were going to be able to, and even your own self thought that you were going to give up. Celebrate that. You don't need to earn joy. You're allowed to experience it while you grow. One of the greatest quotes that I've ever heard is this concept of finding joy in the suffering. Now, suffering can have many different connotations, but when I think back to it, some of the most incredible moments I had in my life was when I was in the trenches, suffering, either putting in the work or going through heartache, and I was able to be present with a smile on my face. Are you able to do the same? BTB family, this step 8, smiling, is about balance. You can be disciplined and joyful. You can be ambitious and present. You can work hard and appreciate your life all along your journey. Smiling doesn't mean that life is perfect. It means that you're still connected. Your head, your heart, your breath, your body, by the grace of God, it's that connection that's going to sustain you long term in your growth. Being able to smile and be present will not only impact your life, but it will be infectious and contagious to everyone around you. This step is most often forgotten. But today, as we've put it in our journal, as we have a good battle plan on how we're going to move forward, smile every day. Listen, if this BTB Step 8 impacted you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. Better yet, send this message to a family member, friend, or colleague, and we are 4 steps away from concluding the BTB Blueprint. I'm so humbled and honored to be with you each step along the way. Let's go out and smile today. Proud of each and every one of you, and until next time, take care.